This week on Engage the Sage.
Hi everyone, I'm Don Saucier. Welcome to this week's episode of Engage the Sage. This week we're going to talk about what you can learn from your evaluations. In the video we put up a couple weeks ago, we talked about your teaching evaluations. And at that point, we didn't have them yet. We were telling our students about the importance and how we were going to use them and asked them to provide us feedback about how we can improve our classes moving forward. Now a couple of weeks have gone by. I haven't had class for a couple of weeks, haven't shaved in a few days, wearing a t-shirt. It's summertime. And I came into my department office, and that manila envelope that I told you I was looking forward to getting with my course evaluations, it was there. So as I'm reading through the comments in particular, because that's where I think the most important feedback is about my class for the future is coming from, as I'm reading through that, some of those comments are making me happy. Some of those comments are showing that students are getting what I was trying to do in the class. Some of those comments make me less happy. Now, by less happy, I don't mean that I'm mad at my students. Oftentimes, I'm disappointed that what I was trying to do wasn't being conveyed well enough to my students, or they're pointing out things that are honest limitations of my class. They're things that I should have anticipated and things that I should have done better. I let my emotions subside before I really decide how it is that I'm going to take those comments and make my next class better. So after having a few days to think about it, I came to some conclusions about how my class went this past semester based on the feedback my students gave me, and this is going to help me make my next class better. One of the things that really struck me in reading the evaluations is my students took them seriously. First of all, I had 26 out of 27 students show up on the day that I did course evaluations. Second, told them that the narrative feedback was most important to me, and as you saw in the last video, I asked them to tell me if they liked the class, what did they like, and if they didn't like the class, tell me what they wanted me to do better and how I could do it better. I am very grateful that my students took that opportunity. 24 out of the 26 students who completed evaluation gave me narrative feedback on the course, and there's a lot of very good information in there about specific things they liked and specific things they would like me to consider changing when I move forward with the course. Some of the things that my students said that they said they liked my enthusiasm. They liked that I tried to engage them in class. It was something they saw me trying to do, and it's something that they appreciated. They liked that I asked them questions, and they liked that I answered theirs. They also liked that I started classes with brief reviews of the content from the class before, and they liked the relevance of the assignments that I gave them and that I connected them to the course material. There were also some things that they didn't like as much. One of the things they didn't like, and I sometimes hear this in my evaluations, is I talk too fast, and I had a hard time keeping up with my lecturing style. Now, I've worked on this for a long time, and I'm going to continue to work to slow myself down, to project my voice, to enunciate my words, to not mumble and get excited, and to allow my students to keep up with me. I can also remind them, hey, if I'm getting ahead of you, get my attention, calm me down, get me back on your pace. I also saw some controversy in my teaching evaluations. I have pop quizzes in my class, and what that means is that 10 times over the course of the semester, my students have the opportunity to take a quiz that counts for 2% of their grade each time. The way that the pop quizzes are graded is they get half of that credit just for being in class and putting their name on it. The other half they get for giving me correct answers. My students are split on how much they like the pop quizzes. Some students said they really liked the pop quizzes and it made them stay on pace in learning the information. Other students hated the pop quizzes. They didn't like having to be held accountable for the information day to day, and they thought they were worth too many points. Possibly my favorite student comment, kind of playing both sides of this issue, said, I hate the pop quizzes, but they're a good idea. So what do I do about the pop quizzes? Well, this is really where the question about evaluations comes in. What I need to do as the teacher is to decide how do pop quizzes work in my class. What do I want to accomplish with the pop quizzes? What is my philosophy in giving them? Why are they part of the assignments that I use, and how do they fit into my point structure? These are the questions that I have to ask myself as a teacher, because it is not my purpose in improving my class based on my students' feedback to please every student. My purpose is to make sure that my class, the assignments, the policies, the practices fit within the framework of my philosophy and my objectives. What that means is I need to revisit the purpose of pop quizzes in my class. I need to examine if I'm giving enough of them or too many. I need to examine if they're worth too many points or not enough. I have to examine if they're there just as an attendance check or as a learning assessment. And what their feedback inspires me to do is to revisit and reevaluate a practice that has been in my class for the past 15 years. Our teaching evaluations provide us an information about how we did this past semester. And sometimes this past semester may be different than the semesters that preceded them. And it gives me an opportunity to put everything out there for evaluation. And now I get to decide, what do I do to my class to optimize it for next year? Now, I get to make the decisions about how I change my class, if at all. I myself am more likely to make tweaks to the things that I've done rather than a complete overhaul of my class. Any tweaks or revisions that I make to my class are going to be done to improve the quality of my class within the philosophy and objectives I have for that class. What I'm doing is I'm evaluating the feedback and I'm considering it for revision. I'm not blindly taking every suggestion every student gives me and trying to chase the answers to please every single student to chase better teaching evaluations. That's not their purpose. I think the purpose of teaching evaluations is to give me an opportunity and information to think about and consider things that I've done in my class to make them better moving forward. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to write down some of these ideas. I'm going to write them right on the syllabus. I'm going to put them into the electronic document of the syllabus so that next year when I'm setting out to make this class better, I haven't forgotten all the information that I've learned from this year's teaching evaluations. Hope that you've enjoyed opening your manila envelopes and opening up your emails and electronic files with your student feedback to make your courses better as you move forward too. Thank you for joining us on this week's episode of Engage the Sage. Please like, subscribe, sign up for notifications, share in social media, and we'll see you next time.